Hello everyone and welcome to a very special day. It is GRDC's first birthday today. Oh, technically it is our first birthday celebration if you want to split the hairs, but the important thing is it's been a year since GRDC was founded and it's time to celebrate. We've got a brilliant event to celebrate with everyone here tonight. My name's Ben Satsford. It'll be just me taking you through this evening. And what a lineup we have got. We have got a massive amount of drivers. We've got over 50 drivers registered here tonight. And we'll hopefully see an absolute riot of a race. 2 hours, 25 minutes, and a lot to look forward to, people. Let's have a bit of a party. But we also have a couple of extra little surprises for everyone out there today, as we do have a couple of giveaways to celebrate the occasion. We had on Wednesday the celebration of the WSC, the World Sprint Championship, returning for its second season, and now we have a hearty celebration of the first year of GRDC. And I'm pleased to say that the prizes are coming direct from our upcoming merch line. So we have got t-shirts to look forward to, we've got mugs to look forward to, and we've got two sets of giveaways. What we're going to do first, we'll do the giveaway for the main entrance, and then from there we will go on to the giveaway for the VIPs at the end of the stream. So let's go to our trusty wheel of names. And you can see that this is quite a hearty list of names. Now, this is all of the entrants direct from our SimGrid page of tonight and of the race. It is omitting the VIPs because the VIPs have a separate giveaway for some special edition merchandise, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But for the two t-shirts that we have two GRDC t-shirts. We will be giving those away via the wheel, and then there will be a custom mug of GRDC for every class winner. We have LMP2, Hypercar, and, of course, LMGT3. But let's spin that wheel. The first t-shirt, the first standard t-shirt winner is going to be... Now, worth noting that you do need to finish the race in order to be eligible for the prize, or it will be re-spun separately. But Maxim Tarasenko, courtesy of GRDC, and subject to winning the race, congratulations, you are going to be our first entrant to take a t-shirt home. And then the second t-shirt is going to be Sebastian Wade. I hope I pronounced that name right. But to those two drivers, congratulations, you're going to be getting yourself, subject to finishing the race, a brand new GRDC t-shirt courtesy of our upcoming merch line. And we will be revisiting this wheel because we do have the VIP giveaway as well. But let's go trackside now, as we have got drivers who are making their way out, and we'll be seeing one of the LMP2's first time out. This is going to be that was and is now returning. Interesting. My data's going a little bit funky here, but even so, we'll see everyone now making their way out here. 10-minute qualifying to our 25-minute race. So you can see now making their way, multiple cars are going to be doing their out laps. Now, realistically, with 10 minutes on the clock, you're only going to have one, maybe two attempts, give or take. It's all about how you manage your timings. Worth noting as well, we have got times 10 time progression. We've got 3 sets of tyres, 12 tyres across the entire event. So drivers are going to have to manage their compounds wisely. And we'll see who has got what it takes. First off, Hypercars, as we are on board with one of them. This is going to be Max Tarasenko. 17 Hypercars joining us today. Tarasenko looks to be one of the first to be making his way through in the number 30. Making his way down to start a lap off. While we're on board, you can see a lot of familiar names as they all make their way to start their laps off. Familiar names and new faces alike. As Tarasenko is going to be the first to start a lap here. Looking as well at the LMP2s, we have got ourselves 7 entrants out this evening. So LMP2s, we know, is a bit of a unique class because it slots in nicely between or just under the Hypercars, but still well ahead of the LMGT3s. So they do have certainly a unique place on the field, and they can result in quite an interesting set of battles. Then looking on to the GT3s, speaking of, we have got quite a stacked grid and multiple entrants, 27 cars in total, making themselves at home in the GT3 class. So there's going to be a lot of different personalities to keep an eye on, and a lot of different drivers who are going to be trying to work hard and make a name for themselves here tonight. Back up to the main spirit of it, though. We are still on board with Tarasenko as he makes his way down the Mulsanne Straight. That's going to be the first chicane for him here. And we will see what he has got in store for us. Looking at some of the speeds he's able to manage, going to really be pushing that Ferrari to its limits. That's 320, almost 330 kilometers an hour before jumping on the brakes for that second chicane. Was having to break it up with such a iconic piece of motorsport history, of motorsport tarmac. Big old push coming in. Tarasenko is going to be the first. So smoothly does it as we cruise our way down. So into the third sector of the course now, looking like he's on good form. Looking nice and smooth in that Ferrari there. Really impressive stuff coming in from Tarasenko. Now they will still be in that optimal window because they have got tyre warmers enabled. And looking a little bit further on, looks like Moffat is actually able to jump ahead, having a slightly better Sector 2 by a couple of seconds. And absolutely raucous Aston Martin making his way through Sector 3. They're one of the only hypercars to not have any hybrid assistance, I believe. Just relying on a pure Cosworth V12 muscle to push itself forward. As you can hear, the pit siren blaring. Multiple cars making their way in, out. Oh, bit of a slip on the rear as Moffat comes to finish his lap. Initial benchmarks for the hypercars. What's it going to be? Moffat crossing the line first. It's going to be a 3-minute 26. Really good opener. Tarasenko not too far behind with a 3 minutes and 29 second lap. 9.6 to be precise. Schleeting just coming across the line also in the Valkyrie and going one step further. 3 minutes 24.5. Great initial showing from these three as Kutsiuk is going to be coming through in the BMW M Hybrid and starting what will be his only lap. Max Sunyev is in a 325.3 trim. Greg Starkey getting a 326.4, just popping up behind Moffat for 4th place. Patouche as well, 3 minutes 27. Tarasenko's initial lap has been displaced out of the top 5. He's going to have one more chance here. But many other cars also going to be trying to fight their way through. Richard Cook going a bit too hard here in the LMP2s. He just finishes that second sector. It's looking a little bit wobbly, but first time from the LMP2s on the board, it is from Timothy Goya. And so 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Flow Scoop just behind with 3 minutes and 39. And now we're getting the LMGT3s starting to show their stripes as well. As more of them make their way through, is Dan Pacici in the RCF, now making his way to the line. 4 minutes and 1 second is the fastest time, courtesy of Hendrik de Vries, and Pacici goes third fastest, 4 minutes and 4.072. Afzan is going to come across with a 4.07 and more LMGT3s on the way. Here's Stijink in the Beamer, only 6th fastest. Not quite enough here to be setting those timing boards alight, but Alistair Ramsey just comes across the line with a 4-minute flat. It's a .112. It's extremely impressive from that Mustang. Gert Swart in the number 5 car, now making his way through as well. What time's going to be able to secure? Looking a little bit down in Sector 2, and it's going to be a 4 minute 11 seconds time. So final minutes coming through for many. This is going to be the last chance that they have, as Schlichting has got that 324.5 and leads for the Hypercars. Let's see on the other side of the aisle how things are doing. Sebastian Weed is going to be in 3rd position, 325.6. But we'll see if there's anything left in the tank from this Valkyrie or from Sunyev in the BMW either. Sure, there's going to be plenty on the table still, looking really good in Sector 1, but losing a bit of time in Sector 2. Let's hope he can peel that back, as he's got to make almost an entire second if he wants to take Schlichting's top position. We're starting to see a majority of the field go back into the pits now, and some drivers never emerge to begin with, as we will have the final toll of qualifying. Last chances from many on the field. Here's Kutsiuk. Dimitra is going to also be in the BMW and just slightly ahead. Let's see what he's got compared to Sunyev. Currently not got a time on the board, so this is going to be a bit of a wild card here. Sectors 1 and 2 looking fairly down. Are coming through. Let's see what they've got here. So this is going to be, Dimitra is going to be 10th fastest in the Hypercar category. Patush coming up to the line now. Will there be any improvement from the Ferrari? Afraid not. Gotta say, it looks really nice in blue. It really does look nice in blue. Probably one of my favourite colour combos. So we are in the Toyota, I believe. That is going to be Paul Carnham. At the GRO10, as the Hypercars are just finishing business up here. The LMP2s are looking a little bit sparse on the ground. We'll see Garnham get into 8th position. Here is, oh, very nice, Jekajev in 4th position with a 3 minute 41. So he's going to be just slotting in behind Les Flo. Will there be any improvement there? 339.2. No improvements there as such. Cook in 3rd place for the LMP2s. As most of the GT3s have also taken their leave from the course. We do have quite a few no-shows / non-joiners, unfortunately. So they will, of course, be omitted from the driver list. So we will be down to expected 43 starters. Ladies and gentlemen, 43 starters on the grid by the time we go trackside for the race. But last lap's getting completed now. We've got Mike Cooper, Hyohi Pashwishvili. I have probably absolutely butchered that, and I can only apologise if that is the case. Daniel Christo just coming up to the line now as well in the Aston Martin. A very nice sounding car as well. 4 minute 20 becomes a 4 minute 2. Very big jump. Very impressive from Christo here. Major improvement here. 4 minute 20 becomes a 4 minute 2. Very big jump. Very impressive from Christo here. Major improvement here. 4 minute 20 becomes a 4 minute 2. Very big jump. Very impressive from Christo here. Major improvement here. 4 minute 20 becomes a 4 minute 2. Very impressive from Christo here. Very nicely done indeed. Here comes Cooper in the Huracan. Was looking very bright and sharp. Got that Iron Dames livery currently being run. I'm very excited to see what becomes of LMU once driver swaps are fully validated. We had the driver swap test literally today, and it was quite the event, let me tell you. Mike Cooper also making a dramatic improvement, getting himself into 7th position. Will he be able to match that? It's going to be in 8th. So really impressive stuff. There's the 2 and 7 of Marco, who's going to be tailing and yielding off. That is going to be final cars on the track, having completed their runs. And now we can see qualifying results in full, folks. As Schlichting takes top honours for the Hypercars, 3 minutes 24.585. And Sunyev Reed taking the other 2 top spots for Hypers. Looking at LMP2s, we have Timothy Goya getting a really strong initial lap and basically being untopped for the rest of the session, with Cook and Scoob getting 2nd and 3rd for LMP2s. And then we'll have Alistair Ramsey, Hendrik de Vries and Marco Craparouge taking the LMGT3 category. So let's have a proper look and see what our rows are starting like. So, of course, Schlichting and Sunyev in the Aston and Beamer starting things off. Then it's Sebastian and Moffat in the Ferrari and another Aston Martin Valkyrie in row 2. Row 3 is going to go to Starkey in the Porsche. In the 6th position is Patouche in the Ferrari. Ivan Fedorov and Sebastian Borgerson in the Aston and the Ferrari respectively, 7th and 8th. And then your top 10 concludes with Max Tarasenko and Paul Garnham in the Ferrari and the Toyota. Row 6 is going to be the BMWs, this time Paul Wallace and Dmitro Kutsiuk in 11th and 12th. And then it's going to be Robin Cheney, Daniil Nagitsev. I believe a couple of these drivers weren't able to make it to the trackside today. Rich Gasson and Chris Willems, they were not able to. So we're just going to get an exact confirm on who is staying and who is going, with August Ersoy being the last of the Hypercars. Timothy Goya is going to be lead of LMP2 alongside Richard Cook and Flo Scoob in row 10. 19th and 20th, and then it's Boris Sergeyev and Zvonimir Burek with 4th and 5th positions. Mark Kerner and Will Seward, I don't think we saw them trackside during qualifying, so they will of course have to wait to be seen. Alistair Ramsey and Hendrik de Vries are going to be your leaders for LMGT3 meanwhile, with Marco Craparouge de Contino in row 14. Unfortunately, we've run out of time as the track is now hot for the race session. And you can see everyone's going to be starting to line up here. So, multiple unfortunate no-shows. Whether that is technical issues or just no-shows in general, there will still be a lot to look forward to, folks, as things are about to get quite wild. The session is going to be quite an intense one. 2 hours, 25 minutes. Of course, that accelerated time progression. And the race itself being, of course, 2 hours and 25 minutes. This is going to take us through all manner of conditions. It's going to see bright midday sun, it's going to see the darkness of night, the temperatures rise and fall. It's all going to be a party on the track just as much as it is a party in the paddock and at home. So if you're enjoying what we do here at GRDC, of course consider subscribing, because there is plenty more to come. We've had the revival of our mainline championship, we've got other fun events like LMGT3 Challenge, and we have even more on the horizon, which you'll no doubt love if you've been a fan of what we do so far. But let's see what the racers have in store, as the race is about to get underway, folks. This is going to be something special, alright, to the point where my game physically cannot take this amount of cars on the screen in the same space at the same time. But let's have it. The track is hot for a very special 1-year celebration and a 24-hour round romp of Le Mans. Let's go, let's have some fun. And immediately on the getaway, we do see a penalty for Goya getting handed out, so there's a big issue there that he's going to have to resolve quite quickly. We're going to see squabbling and fighting all across the Hypercar field, as right out the gate there's going to be Moffat on the inside of Patouche. The Ferrari going to be dueling and trying to trade blows with the Valkyrie as they're all squabbling for positions. We see Tarasenko gaining a little bit of time but losing it just as quickly as Borgerson is on his inside and now making his way around the corner. Very smooth execution. Borgerson feeling a little bit of pressure but undeterred otherwise, trying to keep up with the mainline pack. LMP2 as well, still keeping their race nice and tight. Goya with that penalty, along with Boris getting a mad jump up the field. Sergeyev is going to be, of course, in the lead of the race right now for the LMP2s, but we do have 5 solid competitors who are really making a wave on here. Meanwhile, the GT3s, they're having just as much of a fight. You can see the cavalcade of racing machinery flowing down the course as multiple cars are unfortunately having some issues. We do see Kotsiuk having to regain from the back of the pack, as he's had a bit of a troubled start, it seems like. But yes, as confirmed, we do have 8 no-shows. And so, oh, ouch, double trouble as there's contact with Kotsiuk and one of the GT3s. And then you also have, I think that's Karuz and Shulia, completely knocked out of the running. They just took each other out completely there. Brutal start to the race for them, and it's certainly going to be exchanging some less than favourable words, no doubt, by the end of this one. So we will see most likely a last-ditch effort later to try and recover from that kind of incident, if they recover at all. See, Cruz is completely stationary, and Shuya is trying to move his way forward, but he's losing time very fast, so I think there's some severe damage which he's having to contend with. Looking back to the front of the field, Sebastian hot to the heels of Schlichting in the Valkyrie. Half a second that he needs to make up, and do so fast. You see a couple of smoke plumes as Moffat, I believe that was, going slightly off the side of the track. We also see Fedorov. Actually, no, it was Fedorov. That's my mistake. He was the one who went off just a moment ago. I don't think we saw him... I'm not sure if we saw him in qualifying. And we had a couple of drivers who weren't there for qualifying are now trackside for the race here, so remains to be seen how they perform, especially in such tight competition. Here comes Richard Cook, though, on the side of Boris. Timothy Goya has reasserted himself in the lead of the LMP2 group. He certainly has got his work cut out for him now, as Sergeyev is proven to be quite the fast driver, or at least got a very strong start. Scoob as well, trying to chase into Cook, see what he can do here. Boris, no doubt, the one with the best start out of everyone. We do see, unfortunately, 2 DNFs at the start of the session. We have Wout Willemsen and Robert Cruz. But, oh, there's a spin in the background. That is a flow. Completely 360ing off the side of that final chicane. And is going to be handing a position as Timothy Goya makes an interesting choice to head into the pits at the start of the session, no less. Maybe there's some strategic play going on here, or just wanting to get out of the way. Either way, pretty raucous start to the birthday race here. And we're no doubt going to see that continue the trend as things very quickly heat up. We're going to be certainly heating up in the GT3 side of the paddock, as we have De Vries on the back of Ramsey, just starting their second lap now. Going to be smooth sailing for most of the GT3s thus far, with the exception of the drivers towards the back. Although curiously, it looks like Shuya has been able to, for the most part, recover their running, although running very slow here. as you can see through the final chicane, practically limping the car. Yeah, not looking too hot there, unfortunately. We do see Chris Ish and David Contino making their way down the Mulsanne straight into the first chicane. We do have a yellow local, as it looks like there has been a kind of issue. Tholen is going to be our third DNF, folks. Dan Wilson is in the pits as well. So certainly trying to resolve some kind of issues. Is Stijink as well going for an attack? The GT3s have got multiple battles happening simultaneously. You can see just in the foreground as well. There's Mark Cooley going for an attack on Pacici. Stijink just trying to bide his time here. Not too dissimilar from Cooley in the RCFs. His opponent, Pacici, of course, proving to be a bit of a roadblock, but he's going to go narrow, try and put some pressure down into the chicane. No dice, unfortunately, for him, but his intent has been clearly signalled. Meanwhile, De Vries has got an interesting circumstance as Timothy Goya has rejoined the track and is no doubt going to be fighting hard to get past the GT3s and rejoin his LMP2s. We're going to get a quick draft off the back of Alistair Ramsey as there's a small amount of gravel kick up. But now Goya is going to be in a pocket of his own on the racetrack, and this might be brilliant news for him. Getting that harsh undercut just might be what he needs to stay out of trouble and keep his opponents on their toes. Back on the Hypercar side, we do have things that are rapidly developing. The Starkey is hot to the heels of Dan Moffat. Looking sharp in P6 right now, but the leaders have started to peel away. Sunyev is going to be the car to beat in that BMW, and with 1.5 seconds away from Schleeting in second. Sebastian is still going to be there, but he's not quite got the proximity that he once had. Contino also in that middle ground as he's trying to catch back up to Chris after the small fight they had earlier on the circuit. What he can do to regain position, as there will still be pressure high. Ramsey though does lead for the GT3 cars and looks nigh unstoppable at the moment. And goes with Cook as there is going to be an issue. Boris is off the side of the first chicane at the start of lap 3. Had a major off and dropped himself all the way down to 4th place. Not too similar. Robin Schweney also having a major issue of their own and has fallen behind Cook on the LMP2 side. Makes me wonder what exactly happened. Oh, we do have a disqualification as well. That is going to be, well, for one of the first and few times I've seen it. Dmitro Shoya has been disqualified from the session. The exact cause currently is unknown, unfortunately. We'll get more information to you as soon as we have it. But a rough start, rough innings for some. Shreddy is going to be able to get back around Richard Cook, was using that class difference, that hypercar, to best effect. Patush hot on the heels of Sebastian as they both come out of that second sector and are now trying their hardest to put some pressure down. 3 seconds between himself and Schleeting is no small gap though, so they might want to be mindful of just how much fighting and squabbling they're really doing. Too much, and that will be allowing Schleeting to get away, as there's one of the LMGT3s off the side of the track. That is going to be, in fact, trying to see exactly who it is, that is Gert Swart. As the Hypercars have also had a bit of an off, that is Fedorov, as I think he had a bit of a coming together with Tarasenko. Starkey really running close to Moffat now. He was in that half-second range, but now he's really breathing down his neck. You can see just how much time you lose in the dirty air as well. Look, that's 10th timer is going down and down and down. Goes to show that he needs to really push and needs to get past him here. Both of them are being negatively impacted by this. Starkey's getting the dirty air. Moffat is going to get a bit of aero wash as well. And simultaneously, he's having to drive defensive to keep his opponent at bay. So the both of them are losing time. This is why in a race situation, you want to minimize the time you spend fighting with other cars. And your best race is sometimes one that feels like a hot lapping session. Because that's your minimal disturbance. Your best laps again and again and again. Why so many drivers strive to get a breakaway. Because they know they will be undeterred. See Flo up in second for the LMP2s in an interesting turn of events, as Goya has, for the most part, started to catch up. Still leaving a lot to be desired in terms of their times and deltas. You'll see Goya come up to the end of their lap post pit stop. We'll get a true representation of their best lap here as they come up to the line. What's it going to be for the LMP2 leader? It's a 3:38. Okay, so if they keep this pace up, they will certainly be well within contention of making serious time. Got a bit of a squabble between Boris and Zvonimir. Two LMP2s really bringing the heat to each other as they come up to the Mulsanne straight for the 4th time. Seemingly similar story coming in between Patush and Reed, both in the Ferraris, both feeling the pressure as they come up to the chicane here in the Mulsanne. Actually, no, that is not the chicane, that is the end of the Mulsanne. My mistake there. But really squeezing each other to the line. Though Starkey has lost a lot of time to Moffat, indicating a mistake. He's sweeping through now in through sector 3. As the racing is starting to ramp up. We do see, I believe that is Dan Wilson yielding off the side. Blue flags, of course, instituted, as he is going to be at the bottom of the GT3 order, only slowed, or only furthered, by Gert, who is in the pits following the loss of his rear wing and most of his aero package, making it a limping affair rather than a racing one. We do also have a bit of insight. Uwe Tholen saying, quote, "One easy rule, hold the brakes while spinning." So that may be part of their DNF. An altercation with another car. Maybe procedure not quite being followed. Of course, that's in the hands of the stewards, who will be recording everything for lap 1 and beyond that, any post-submitted incidents. See Rios on the back of Cooper. Will there be any changes in position? There's the Lambo on the defense from the Porsche. Is tucking to the left side, goes back in. Isn't able to close the gap quite as much. Rough innings there for him. Not able to close, but might have a second lease of life here as they are gaining a good chunk of time and are running pretty quick. Right to the back of that Lambo, now into the corner, is going to get ahead. Very nicely balanced on the brakes there, good execution from Rios. You can see Boris now displaced into 4th place for the LMP2, seeing if he can get his comeuppance. As he's sweeping left, right, left again. 4th lap about to become lap 5. They go side by side temporarily before Boris holds back. Two of them certainly both squabbling for position. As a little bit of a better exit for Boris is going to set himself up nicely on the inside into the first corner. He's going to go very narrow, really try and put the pressure down. As Burek is going to be on the back foot, he's going to have to yield into the first chicane. Hasn't quite got the position. And just like that, Boris back up into P3 here. Checking in as well with our hypercars. Of course, Starkey has dropped a bit further now still. Lost about 0.3 of a second, so not looking too hot here in the Porsche. But that is going to be the polar opposite story for Moffat, who is looking like a speeding bullet into the corner at the end of the Mulsanne. Unfortunately, no position, but he did get alongside Patouche. Coming up to 20 minutes in. And so far, the racing is looking electric. Up and down the field. We've had twists. We've had turns. We unfortunately see our 5th retirement / DNF of the session. This is going to be for Dan Wilson. Of course, he was at the back of the field. He was running a 5-minute lap, last lap. So that indicated some kind of serious issue. And unfortunately, he has retired. So between that and our 8 non-starters, that is going to leave us with 38 remaining cars on the field, folks. 38 out of 43 starters here at the race. Meanwhile, Dimitro is going to be trying to get his way through the LMP2 cars. We do have a bit of an issue here. There's Lorne Martin. Just returning off the side of the track, having caused a local yellow flag and having a major control issue. I think just took a little bit too hot. And you can see them running very slow, as I believe that is going to be one of the... which BMW is, I don't actually know. Oh, that's Sunyev. Sunyev's down into 6th. Makes me think that he maybe took a pit stop earlier on. No, he's taking his pit stop now. So, he's had a mistake and is now pitting in. Very bizarre situation coming in as Schlichting has taken the lead. Quite a turn of events, if I do say so myself, folks. Because this is not how I expected the start of the race to go. We do have most of the LMP2s now spacing themselves out from one another. Curiously, Timothy Goya has got the gap down to 5 seconds or less between himself and Shurkjev. In fact, it's 4.5 and dropping. Goya masterfully executing this race start to really just maximise his gains, maximise his times. He's lapping in the 3:30s compared to the 3:41s to 3s of his compatriots. See how that shapes the rest of the session, as Lorne Martin, following that off, has gone into the pit alongside Sunyev. The question is, how long are they both going to be in there? They will surely be running out of time to keep up with the field. So we'll see the LMP2s continue to be that middle group that spaces itself out, but does create a much more dynamic situation across the entire track. As for the hypercars, you have cars that aren't quite as fast as you, certainly not at the top end, but still know how to hold a corner. They do still have a lot of downforce, those LMP2s. They can hold their own through some of these corners, even against the top class machinery. And then for the GT3s, there's another source of traffic that they'll have to negotiate their way around. Although not as quick and cut and dry of a pass as the Hypers. Certainly something to consider and weigh up as your race strategy evolves. But you can see that those shadow lines are getting longer. Remember, we do have ×10 time multiplier, so we are going to start heading into the evening. Already in the late afternoon right now. Yes, before long, we will be having our first major paradigm shift of the session. The racers will soon have to navigate tyre temperatures and dropping visibility, getting into the evening and eventually into the deep of the night. So Martin and Sunyev now back out of the pits. Actually, no, Sunyev is still boxed in. What is going on with that BMW? There has to be some major issue going on because they have been there for minutes at a time now. Something has seriously gone wrong for Sunyev. Patush still on the heels of Sebastian here into the 7th lap of the race. Refuses to let up. There is zero yield in that car, and I absolutely love it. Half a second, still splitting the two. Borgeson looking to emulate some of that as well. Don't forget as well, folks, there's a mug on the line here. There is a custom GRDC mug, just as part of the prizes that we are handing out today. Best in class for each car will receive a GRDC mug, and then we have the VIP giveaway as well, which will be revealed at end of stream. And we will see as well what the racers have on par for us now. Weird has already got one of the t-shirts, remember, so if they could make it a double threat, that would certainly be a successful evening. But coming up to some serious traffic now, as you do see the two GT3s fighting with each other. That is going to be quite a predicament there. You can see as well more hypercars now trying to file their way through and push through the gaps in the GT3s, and some using it to great effect. Fedorov coming through the second chicane down the Mulsanne, and Tarasenko is going to be caught off guard. See them both filing and fighting their way through. Tarasenko looking for any kind of angle that he can get on the Aston, having to brake a little bit harsher as he almost went into the back of him. But Fedorov is going to be taking top honours here for now in the fight between the two. Tarasenko being the other winner of one of the GRDC shirts. Now for the VIPs, we do have a custom version of the shirt, including race number embroidered, as well as custom mugs with your race number. It's got 2 of those. They'll be having 3 spins of the wheel from end of the race to determine the VIP giveaway. Make sure you're sticking around for that. All GT3s yielding to the faster group. Goya has got himself within 2 seconds of Boris, so before long we will see him catch up and start to put some serious pressure down. Borchi on the back of Pachichi. We do have a local yellow. Something has gone catastrophically wrong on one of the cars. Sunyev finally back out on the field as well. A much welcomed... Oh no! Zvonimir! Something has happened to that LMP2. He's completely stopped on the track. What is going on with this car? Trying to get a bit of gauge. Yeah, the car is completely deactivated. What's going on with Zvonimir? Might be our first LMP2 retirement. Hopefully he can get that car back. whatever issues he has, he can resolve them. But no, Fedorov, what was a previously massive move, has gone to waste as Tarasenko, Garn and Borgerson all going to pass him on the track while he recovers out of the chicane. Most likely just a bit of lift-off oversteer, and his party is over for the Aston. Got to get that Valkyrie back on fighting form. You can see Borgerson already. Fedorov looking like a rocket. Taking that move with ease there. Already gaining a second on Borgerson, as I think he got stuck behind the GT3 for an extended period of time. We do see as well behind him, that is Paul Wallace in one of the BMWs, and Sunyev working to catch back up. Flo Scoob is going to be just behind, as Kotsiuk is going to cut air through them. Or cut the air for them. That Beamer's not going to be staying there for long. It was Bonamir is back into the pits. So I believe that is going to be a retirement. By all accounts, it looks like it's going that way. Meanwhile, is Timothy Goya, 5th in class, or 4th in class now. As Boris stands in his way. The pace, remember the pace is 3:39 compared to Boris's 3:41. Just got his fastest, but it's still not enough, as Boris, just like that, is going to get overtaken. Goya is up in 3rd. Great showing. And looks like he's got some serious momentum now. Particularly Sector 3 looks to be really dominant on that part of the course. To the point where he's actually on par with some of the Hypercar times on some of these sectors. It's pretty ridiculous. It's where some of the Hypercars get a good chunk of their pace, is their top end and their relentless power. So in some aero-limited sections, they still can go toe-to-toe. The LMP2s are thoroughly beat in other areas. Do see Fisher trying to hone in on Mark Cooley for P11 on GT3 side. But he's not going to be getting any special favours. Any of an easy time. Cooley does put up a bit of a defence, but it's not enough. Fisher is going to make quick work of the position here. See Paul Wallace as well getting stuck behind one of the Vantages as he's hunting Borgerson down. Borgerson is running slow consistently now. These past few laps have not been looking good for the Ferrari driver. But saying that, it looks like Wallace has had just as much of a problem, as he's going to be both jumping into the sand and the gravel and jumping into the pits quite early compared to his rivals. So he's going to be rolling through. Curiously, Burek is not officially registering as a DNF yet, so I don't exactly know what's going on there. But Fisher is going to be on the back foot as Cooley has retaken the position on the Ferrari. He's not going to let this one go without a fight, that much is certain. But how much fight has Fisher got in him? It's all going to come down to the Mulsanne straight, the setup for the straight, the chicanes. That's where a good chunk of your moves are dealt. Doesn't matter what class you're on. That's where you've got to be focusing a good chunk of your efforts. As we do have another local yellow flag. Trying to see exactly what the source is on that one. Looks like Wallace is going to be returning out of the pit lane. And it's going to be just behind Kotsiuk of the other BMW. And this is where things start to take an interesting turn. Now you can see, of course, we are now getting into the stages of the evening. And in the evening, temperatures are going to drop, visibility is going to get a little bit harder, and the drivers are going to have to start considering either pit stops or where they are on track. Starting to come up with some strategy to finish out the rest of this race as we head into the deep of the night. Now, luckily, 10 times time multiplier does not mean 10 times tire deg. So, those 12 sets, well, those 12 rubbers are still going to be able to last all the 24 hours. And how the drivers mix and match the tire compounds is up to them at their discretion. Whatever gets them to the end of the race, whatever fits their strategy the best. Fisher and Cooley continue to joust and duel, as Fisher has got ahead coming out of the Mulsanne, but that Lexus is once again peeling alongside, trying to ascertain an advantage into the next corner. Just going to be slightly ahead. Is Cooley really giving it everything he has, and is going to have the narrows into the next corner. Cooley is doing a phenomenal job keeping this fight alive. Fisher, you can see, getting very antsy. He knows that further up the road that Hyori is going to be peeling away multiple seconds. As long as this fight keeps going, that gap keeps growing. So he wants it done fast. See Hypers, of course, dot themselves around the course. Patu still on the back of Sebastian. I really have to give it to Patush. His resilience is unmatched. It's that ability to be able to continue. As we do have another local yellow. Trying to gain again. Find the source. Goetz is moving a bit erratically here, I can't lie. Moving very erratically on the track. Don't really know what their game is. Oh no! We do have the source of the yellow flag. It is Robin Cheney. In the Ferrari, lost their wheel. You can see it was just laying next to them. That is our 6th DNF and first Hypercar DNF of the night. As they went straight into the wall, completely lost one of their rims. And just like that, that is race over. There's nothing you can do there. So we are down to 37 competitors, folks. 36 if you discount Burek, who's been in the pits for multiple laps now. Shows no signs of returning out. But the game still registers them as being on the track and valid. I really do have to hand it to Atush's just sheer grit, as they have been unrelenting in their attack on Sebastian. And even if Sebastian has not yielded, they are still there. They have not cracked to their own impatience, their own pressure, and sealed themselves. Really great stuff. We see Wallace going for an attack on Kotsiuk as they both try to make their way around the slower BMW in the GT3. There's going to be Wallace going side by side and eventually getting the nose in ahead, although a snap of the rear axle is going to lay that run to ruin as he goes very deep out of the chicane, is going to yield off, have to return the position for going off track, and Kotsiuk, just like that, is back up in fighting form and has gained a significant amount of time too. Over a second, almost a second. As you can see, Wallace has gained a chance here. As that is going to be Kotsiuk through the escape road. Having messed up his braking point into the second chicane, he's going to drop down massively. What Wallace's mistake was detrimental. This is on a whole nother level, to the point where Richard Cook is now there from the LMP2s. Seeing if he can eye up a slipstream. Hopefully Kotsiuk finds his footing, gets himself back in it. We will see that Fisher has not only managed to get past Cooley, but has also put 40 between himself and the Lexus. So has certainly gained himself a little bit of a gap and given himself some insurance in the form of a Ford Mustang. With that fight now well and truly being put to rest, our eyes cast to other places on the track. Goya, 3 seconds before they intercept Flo in second place of LMP2. So massive time gained here for Timothy. Really is something impressive here that they are being able to put on. We do see one of the BMWs just trying to curve their way round. Really impressive showing for Schleeting, who has gained over 10 seconds now compared to the next closest hypercar. In fact, that gap is growing even larger, 12.5, or at least fluctuating around the 12-second mark. So this is what we were saying about getting a breakaway and then treating the race like a hot lap session. He's got the ideal chance to gain the maximum amount of time he can. Unfortunately, this lap doesn't seem to be that lap, but my point stands regardless. It is going to be a very successful drive so far. And we have on LMP2 land a bit of a development. Richard Cook into the pits. Goya is handed second, and Flo Scoop has been handed the lead of LMP2. We have Contino on the back of Chris as well. So this is going to be fight for P4 now coming through. Might even see Christo and Rios get involved in the action, as they are just behind. It's going to be a tough next 30 minutes, I'd say, as these four are going to be the biggest thorns in each other's sides that they'll ever see. Stijink heading into the pits, preparing himself for the night ahead, as we are now well into the evening. Curiously, a hypercar mass exodus to the pit lane has occurred as Schleeting, Weed, Moffat and Starkey all coming in together. They're all going to be in now, and soon going to be emerging out. That's going to give Patush inaugural lead of the race. Still displays second on the side, but he very much is in the lead. Let's not get it twisted here. In fact, Tarasenko and Fedorov are going to be trying to race each other into the pits. You can even see Fedorov trying to go alongside Garnham too, as we have the first emerging Schleeting out of the pits here from that hypercar exodus, with Sebastian not too far behind. Looks like that is going to be one of the LMP2s just in the background. We can see a bit of a queue forming behind Flo. Timothy Goya, you saw just in the background briefly, 3.5 seconds away. There's certainly going to be time for a fight. Sebastian, slow pit stop as he's come out behind Starkey. So Starkey has had an absolute stormer of a pit stop. fact, he's looking now unstoppable. Sebastian is off the side into the wall and is limping his car around the edge of the track, as that looks like such a hard hit. He was rapidly approaching into those tyres, and it now looks like his car's significantly drifting, as he can't seem to keep it in much of a straight line. He's stabilised it now. You can see the speed is down. He's wobbling all over the place. Sebastian's race has well and truly been demolished in the space of half a lap. It's really unfortunate to see. Meanwhile, Tarasenko and Fedorov continue to pressurise each other. They are looking like mighty fine competitors heading into this next phase. We do see that mass exodus now being mimicked by the GT3s, as we have De Vries, Rios, Cooper, Christo, Forti, Ramsey, Fisher, Pichichi and Cooley all into the pits, with Ramsey, you can see now, being one of the first to emerge fresh out. On top of that, we will see the likes of Barham, see Pichichi in the background, and a few more cars now quickly sweeping their way out with the new order incoming to pass. Goya now 2 seconds away from Scoob. That'll be for the lead of LMP2. 40 minutes in though, the sun has set, and we are soon to head deep into the night. In fact, I'd argue we're already there. Coutinho, third place in GT3, but not for long, as Chris is going to be in his crosshairs. Be well within his sight for an attack here. Into the chicane, a little bit deeper than the Mustang just ahead of him. That Mustang, of course, being very strong on the XL. Balance of performance being a factor here. The drivers do still have unique strengths and weaknesses that their cars play into, but here comes one of the LMP2s, swiping their way down the inside. But that was Flo, and then not too far behind here is Timothy Goya. Curiously, lost a lot of time this lap. I think they made a mistake, as they've now dropped to about 7 seconds, and that gap is growing. Few more cars heading into the pits now. We have Sebastian and we have Weed and Borgerson, both called Sebastian. That doesn't really help me. Sunyev is still going to be in the weeds with the LMP2s, but he is starting to make up some time here, and he's starting to fight his way back up slowly. I wonder what happened with Borgerson earlier, because Borgerson, remember at the start of the race, he did run kind of slow. See, Coutinho. See, Goya is trying to make the way round. Number 37 here. You can see they're all heading into the pits though. Goya going for that second stop. This is an odd one for me, because it feels like Goya, by all accounts, went for that undercut, but is now running a traditional strategy? That's certainly perplexing me a little bit, but we'll see what kind of stop this is, as they are going to be spun round And we'll see when their rival Scoob is going to be coming out of the pits as well. However, as it stands, major spacings across the field. Closest fight you've got right now is right here. It's Rios v. Wiedemann. As Matthias is on the defense in the McLaren. See both of them taking it quite hot, but Rios pushing just that bit harder. See, that's going to be Wiedemann into the pits, though. Rios is going to get this one for free, at least for now, as multiple cars are heading out, more are heading in. That's going to be Kroparouche and Chris Ish making their way out here, along with Weed also returning out after their pit stop to repair from that disastrous collision to the entrance of the Mulsanne. More cars now making their way through, and much left to be desired for some in terms of their race session. We have Bahrain, Fordham and Afsan in a trio running their way through the final sector. Exactly going to be smooth sailing just yet for these three, as that there is going to be a bit of a push, and unfortunately that's going to be going deep for Fordham. He's going to be sweeping his way across and almost closing the door on Fedorov there. That could have ended in tears, as Fordham is going to peel to the inside, allow the Valkyrie to get past unencumbered. Any further issues, as you can see in the background, there's Tarasenko as well, who is likely going to be repeating much of the same incidents, though he's going to get much quicker of an egress on Fordham here. So you can see he's trying to fight his way through as quick as one possibly can, but he is going to get a little bit boxed in by the Porsche. Managing to get around just before the entrance of the Mulsanne. He's able to take it full of force, and now his chase reignites as he wants to get back to Fedorov. Certainly not going to be having an easy time though. $60 NFs and 8 no-shows later are 36 cars. They are going to be having quite the race under their belts so far. 50 minutes in, we are deep into the night now, as most drivers have taken a pit stop and have elected to take the next set of tyres. Here is Bahrain alongside Afzan in the Porsche here. We do see a yellow flag. We're trying to ascertain the source. Is Coutinho. He's come to a complete stop on the circuit and shows no signs of movement. In fact, he's rolling at 1 kilometre per hour. So that is certainly a very dangerous situation. He needs to move fast, otherwise his race is over. In fact, one would argue that the race already is over for him. It's just delaying the inevitable. So time is of the essence here, as the field is going to be soon closing in on itself, having had multiples of split up pit stops. We do have our 7th DNF confirmed. Coutinho stopped on the track. He is now returned to the pits and is out of the session tonight. Meanwhile, we see Cook, who is leading the LMP2s following Scoob and Goya's pit stops. At the lead of it all. I'm still a little bit surprised by Goya's second stop here. I am a little bit surprised, I can't lie to you. But we do have some standout performances, namely at the front end of things, as we do have Schlichting continuing to hold the baton and look like an absolute rocket ship. Another one, Moffat, 4th position and chasing onto Starkey, but Starkey with a masterclass of a pit stop, able to jump multiple racers on the field. That was certainly a show of strategic genius there. No more, no less. So we'll see. Starkey is going to still be ahead, but it's not by much, as there is a flash of lights. There is a flash of lights from Starkey and Moffat alike, as if communicating to each other, as if to say, "Oi, get out the way, this is my podium." Moffat immediately responds, "What do you mean? This is my podium." And a cheeky chinwag trackside, it seems like, and Starkey is about to get a little bit of a dose of V12 as Moffat is really running hot now. He's getting right up close. He's going to tuck to the right side. He's going to try and hold dominance in the corner out of the Mulsanne straight. He goes narrow. He jumps on the brakes alongside Starkey, and a really well executed overtake, but can he hold it? Looks like Starkey got a little bit faster of an exit and got a potential run here, but you can see the two of them running so close, trying to make their way around the RCF as well at the same time. Starkey's going to go narrow. He's really got the pressure on here. Remember, fight for a podium spot here on the race order. Starkey is going to try his best to keep things going, but a little bit of gravel, that is going to force a slight yield out of the Porsche. Moffat has got this attack down, and just like that, he's already appealed a second to the Porsche. Really great battle between the two. Very impressive indeed. We are going to see even more DNFs, unfortunately, as Stijink and Boris in the LMP2s are going to be the ones we say goodbye to now. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, 8 DNFs, 1 disqualification, 8 no-shows, and a retired out Burek, who has yet to count as a DNF, unfortunately, for our clarity's sake. So we have 33 cars remaining. 33 cars remain, 51 starters, 3 LMP2s remaining out of an 8 sign-up list. So I'm going to take a bit of a moment of mellow as things have gone, and certainly interesting. Fordham has I think they lost a bit of time. Oh, yes, you can see. Look at that. They're missing their rear wing. That was the yellow flag, I think, earlier. As we do have... Oh, no, Sebastian. Another Hypercar DNF. Another racer down, and just like that, the session draws to a close for them. So let's take stock at this point, folks. We are 55 minutes in to our race tonight. Let's take a little bit of stock and see exactly where we are. First off, the Hypercars. We have 11 current racers on the course. We have Schlichting leading, with Patouche and Moffat completing your podium. Then even further away, we do have Starkey, Fedorov, Tarasenko, Garner, Wallace, Borgerson and Sunyev in the top 10, with a sole Kotsiuk completing your order. We did not get to see trackside escapades from Gasson, Nagaitsev, Willems or Ersoy, and we've had to say goodbye to Weird and Shaney. So that is going to be a sad demise for them, and bad as it may seem, that is going to disqualify Weird from winning the t-shirt, meaning that we will have to re-roll the Wheel of Names at the end of the stream, alongside doing the roll for the VIPs giveaway too. Unfortunate stuff. Sorry to see it, mate. But gotta finish the race. So Tarasenko's still in the running for that t-shirt, but there will be a second lease of life for those who have not had a chance at some, as of yet, very early, not sure if it's fully released yet, GRDC swag. But here we go, pressure is high, pressure is on for the remaining racers, as Kotsiuk is going to be dropping down and running very slow currently. Richard Cook is going to be up ahead of him, and yeah, looks like there's an issue with that Beamer. Looking at the LMP2s, we do have Cook, Scoob and Goya as our remaining runners. Burek retired out in the pit lane, although has not counted as a retirement as of yet, with Kerner and Seaward not joining us trackside, and Shergiev not making it to the end, unfortunately. So we will see the BMW peel off into the pits with some kind of technical issue. And that just leaves our GT3 roster. Still mostly going strong, luckily. A good chunk of the field still well and truly on track. Although we did have a lot of retirements. We do have 27 cars, and of those, 6 of them, in fact no, 7 of them retired out for various reasons. It did also mean, including Benton and Vasuri not starting, only 18 cars currently survive. So Kotsiuk into the pits. Goya still once again playing the same game of closing time to the back of Falo Scoob. It's going to be a very similar story. 344s to 341s. And then Richard Cook was being leader of class. Means that he has got a bit of an easier time. Fastest laps, interestingly, fastest lap is Sunyev in the Hypercar, despite him being at the bottom of the order now, with Goya having fastest lap for LMP2 and Ramsey fastest lap for GT3. You have another yellow flag briefly, although we weren't able to capture the source in time. Session is well underway for a beautiful run of racing, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got to say, I'm mighty impressed by all the drivers thus far. Not just the drivers who are here tonight, but everyone who gets involved with GRDC. We have some drivers who exclusively run in the LMGT3 challenge. We have drivers who have joined us fresh for Season 2 of WSC. We had our collab events, DGSR, and many others. Everyone plays a part here at GRDC. There's a lot that goes into these events, and there's a lot of people that get involved. And it all comes back to that credo that we have here, and why we're celebrating our first birthday in such a fashion. Proper racing, proper drivers, proper people. That's what it means to be a part of GRDC. That's why it's a club that I personally love working with and being a part of. And no doubt, the drivers feel much of the same. Kotsiuk is going to be going off the side of the track, both being handed a penalty and losing even more time. So something has certainly not gone to plan for that BMW. You can see it's got soft on the front left tyre, whereas his rear left has gone to a medium. So curious on the tyre allocations there. Unfortunately, with the darkness, we're not able to fully see the scope. Oh no, there we go. It looks like you've got soft fronts and medium rears. That tyre distribution is going to be very good at getting the nose in and very good at gripping up, but may harm him in longevity terms. Especially if he breaks traction multiple times and he has to fight with the nose to get it back in. Not going to have an easy time by any stretch. We're just on board here with Chris. He's chasing Rios down as best as one can. We are now an hour in, and we are right in the dead of night, continuing to race around Le Mans. Half a second splits these two. Closest fight on track right now as Fedorov heads into the pits and yields a position to the likes of Tarasenko, who's been patiently trying to catch up. By no means is it an easy feat. Flowing through this last sector, multiple chicanes stacked on top of each other. You're certainly going to have your wits and your ability to retain composure tested. It is a war of attrition as much as it is a war on the track, as we have seen by the amount of retirees. It is not an easy feat at all to be able to run this race for this long. And I am extremely impressed by everyone who runs the races for these extended distances. You see a little bit of flashing behind as well, as there's multiple classes of cars. There's a Toyota darting in and out, and alongside a Ferrari too, as that is going to be Borgerson and Garnham. They're going to be slicing their way through that LMGT3 traffic like it was nothing. This is where we hit a little bit of a lull in the race moment, as Patouche is 20 seconds away from Schlichting, and that gap is still being asserted at the top level. The massive spread and disparity in pace is very much noticed. You see eyes on these hypercars for a little bit, as they are going to continue squabbling down the straight into the second chicane. You've got Lexus on the right, just about keeping it smooth and running it over, but wide run from Borgerson is going to drop him time. I think maybe spooked himself out, didn't quite get an optimal line coming out of the corner where Garnham was home free. They're now 8.5 tenths between the two. Really solid stuff, solid racing between the two. They're not being overzealous, they're not pressurizing for moves that they know can't land. They are simply biding their time, running the race, and cleanly attacking each other when the opportunity presents itself. There is no over-compromising. overstepping the line. See, very impressive driving, but still navigating around subject traffic. Garnham has got a massive breakaway right now. Fedorov, in fact, is breathing down Borgerson's neck, so his attack mission has very quickly skewed to a defensive one. Now Fedorov is going to be on his back. There will be no mercy from this Aston, as we have seen in times past. Is not one to yield so kindly. In fact, you can see he's already hot to the heels. Slicing their way through that final sector. Now on to lap 19, well and truly what many may consider the halfway point of this race. Oh no! That's gone terribly for Borgerson. He skates across the dirt. And just like that, his charge is over. He held on well, but Fedorov is going to well and truly be ahead now. And we have got a little bit more insight on what exactly happened with Burek. So Burek actually crashed. His game crashed, but because there wasn't technically an exit from the race session, it is still considered to be on the track, just in the pit lane. It's a form of recovery. We do see another DNF, this time from Mark Cooley in the LMGT3 category. That is 10 DNFs and 1 disqualification. 31 cars remain. 20 races down now. That's a scary thought. 20 races down from initial signage. Just taking a moment to observe and just to watch these two, as Chris and Adam. They are both going to be running each other for everything that they are worth. See, Chris is really trying to get under his skin, but even so, he's got his own problem, as Christo was very close to the back of that Mustang for a good while there, not showing any signs of slowing down. And weirdly, it almost looks like he's got extra lights. I'm just noticing he's got a roof light and a grille light. Most curious. I don't think I've noticed that before. I thought it was just some kind of reflection bug, but no, it's LED strips in the grille and on the top of the car. Only a bit of a new discovery for myself. We Goya, things are starting to calm. The field is going to be having some moments of aggression between them, mostly in the GT3 category, but the Hypercars were spaced. The LMP2s, there's only 3 left. Sort of Goya making a massive jump. This is where things are going to be for a little while. We will, of course, have the fight between Ish, Christo and Rios. We'll check in on them periodically. So far I can see Fedorov is looking... Again, Fedorov, I don't know what it is, but there are times when Fedorov looks like an absolute rocket and oh, making contact with Garnham there. But yeah, there are times where Fedorov truly does just look like they have been fired out of a gun. And are nigh unstoppable. You can see already gapping by a whole second. I'm not sure what they've got set up on their car, aero-wise and speed-wise, but it is crazy fast. In fact, let's switch to the HUD for a moment. Let's see how much speed that they are able to really carry. So not too much more speed, but you can see they only go into 2nd gear or 7th gear at around the 310, 315 kilometer an hour mark. There are really some ridiculous speeds being generated by Fedorov there in the Valkyrie. Like, certainly got a lot that they are capable of in there. But Timothy getting in within that 2nd range of flow, as they have been one of the cars to watch. Richard Cook is going to be heading in for the 2nd time this session. That is going to mean the fight is on for the lead of LMP2. Scoob and Goya are going to run together and will be fighting for the lead of the group. Leading the leader of Hypercar, 23.5 seconds. Again, that gap is proving a monumental hurdle for anyone to overcome, even have a chance at the lead. You can see Goya is really running it hot here, trying every kind of line. Every kind of line that they can go for. You can see even a little bit of skittishness as Goya is running so aggressive to try and close the gap and keep Scoob on their toes. One of the Ferraris is going to be waiting in the wings. I believe that is Sunyev. No, that is not. Sunyev was in the BMW. That's my mistake. You can see as well a couple of pit stops. Starkey into the pits alongside Paul Wallace. Ooh, looks like a bit of a rough line there from Flo as they've gone very narrow. Outbrake themselves here. Just outbraking themselves and almost boxing in the Ferrari. One stays on the racing line, the other ducks to the side to try and avoid. And in that is going to lie opportunity. Here comes Goya on the left side. Then look to gap him into the 2nd chicane. In fact, yields off a little bit earlier though. Not going to go on the attack just yet, but may go for the attack on the exit, really close to the back. You can see just angling for any kind of opportunity. There's space alongside on the left, but the left's not where you want to be. He's going to be up ahead, but that's going to be Scoob with the inside line of the corner. Even so, he's going to try and outbrake it there. Goes very deep into that final corner at the end of the straight. Unfortunately, Goya just misjudging that one. I think that wasn't the smartest play. And we do have a local yellow briefly. There was some kind of issue, but has been quickly resolved. So I think just one of the cars going slightly off the track, off the beaten path. Here we are back after sort of brief technical hiccup and just trying to ascertain. Oh no, that's Jorge off the side of the track and another DNF. Gotsiuk being also one that DNF'd slightly earlier as they had a bit of an off, but oh, that is a rough situation to be in. I do feel for him there. He just went off the side of the track, decided enough was enough. And just like that, we are now down to 29 cars, 16 LMGT3s, 3 LMP2s, and 10 Hypercars. Quite a trimming of the order, if I do say so. Moffat into the pits now. We'll see where he comes out. It's Fedorov as well, who has jumped up to 5th, owing to drivers ahead of him pitting. See, he's going to be running very aggressive in light of the opportunity afforded. These hypercars just, they look so nimble. See, that is going to be a solid lap there. That is a 3:30.6, I believe, or 3:30.7. The fight continues between the GT3s further away. Rios-ish and Cristo still running together, running in their tightly condensed group. You can see here, really get the full perspective. 16 cars remaining. Benton and Down are out, or never started to begin with. We are over the halfway line. We're coming up to the final 60 minutes, which means before long we may start to see the sunrise. Yeah, we will be soon starting to see the sunrise, I think, folks. Not going to be long now. Obviously, the 2 LMP2 cars of the night that have certainly impressed. It has been a pleasure watching these drivers. See this fight now continue. Making their way quickly down through that third sector. Question is, will Goya go for another move? Or will we see some combat before that move is made? Goya with a very good exit. Trying to see what he can tee up here. He watches the movements of Scoob. We do have a yellow, but no confirmed source. No confirmed source of the yellow flag. I think it was Fedorov, as they dropped a massive amount of time out of nowhere. Yes, it was briefly losing time there, Fedorov was, but they were not the source. Back onto this fight here. And we're fighting for the lead of LMP2. Seriously, Rios has actually lost positions in that fight of 3. So Ish continues to lead, but Cristo managed to get past the number 47 car. That fight for P5 might be secured if Rios can't get his movement back. If he cannot get his mojo back in line, he might be in trouble. Just trying to see and monitor and see where else there might be some action happenings. A couple of times we haven't been able to catch the yellow flags before they were resolved. We do have Paul Garnham heading into the box now. Garnham heading into the box. That will give chance for the likes of Moffat, Augustin even. Eyes to these two. Goya has managed to get his way round, as we do see someone on the inside there yielding off. Oh no! Wait. What's happened there? That's Flo completely going off the side of the track, returning round, having to do a full 360 through the gravel. Brutal punishment as he tried to take and failed to take the escape road. So Goya has taken the lead of LMP2, and with over a 10-second lead to boot. Certainly going to be chuffed with that one. Seek and ye shall find. The patience has been awarded, as Schleeting into the pits means that Patush is once again going to take a taste of that enviable P1 position. While he may not be able to hold it forever, he certainly will be able to make the most of this chance while it lasts. Remember, the 29 current cars that remain out on this course, they've all still got a part to play. And they've still got a chance to make something special of this. And it's all going to be up for grabs. I'm just curious to see who's going to be the one to make a next big jump. You can start to see some of the early morning air creep over as things are starting to get a little bit lighter here out in the Mulsanne Strait, and throughout the streets of Le Mans things are starting to wake up again. We see another mass exodus into the pit lane. This time it's Ramsey, Forty, Christo and Fisher all going into the pits. As we do see more now making their way. Ramsey just coming out now. Cooper is going to be joining the pit lane escapades, as we will see more cars now cruising through. I think will Bahrain be one heading into the pits too? Yes, they are. So most of the GT3s are going to follow the same cadence, and in the same light, Max Tarasenko has also joined them. See, just a question of when they will be coming out. That will dictate this next crucial phase, as the sun is well and truly rising here. Very quickly brightening up. The darkest days of the Grand Prix, or of the race, are well and truly over. As now it's time to head into the early hours of the morning. Temperatures have been low, but they're going to start to creep up again. Perhaps they're going to be able to find that fight in their tyres once more, and before long, we'll actually have to start considering the other way. Maybe having too much temperature. Hope their tyre pressures are on point. GRDC were just on board with a couple of cars as they were making their way out their pits, reinstalling themselves into the race. And many more cars are now making their way through. Here's Sunyev on the left, or on the right side, sorry, of Paul Wallace. Both of them squeezing for as much as they can get out of this racetrack. Wallace with a bit of a rough innings out of that chicane is going to drop the position. Sunyev now into 7th place as Schlichting is going to reassert the lead. Patush now coming back into the pits just a lap later. Schlichting crossing the line to start lap 25. Patush in the box and Schlichting back up into the lead. You can even see that he's going to start making his way on more traffic. More GT3s is having to yield out of his way as that Valkyrie comes screaming through. Goya now extending his gap by 21 seconds in the LMG or the LMP2 side of things, as the LMGT3s have had a bit of a shake-up of their own. De Vries, Rios both into the pits. Ramsey is going to be continuing their solo flight as more cars ahead of them will be boxing in. Chris Ish in 2nd and Marco Craparouge is going to be in 1st place. Although their timing board, their electronic timing board, is displaying as 2nd, I can confirm that is in fact 1st. Again, local yellow flag coming out. And that is going to be for Daniel Christo, who is off the side of the track and has spun themselves. Whoa, another car is going to be having much of the same excursion. That's Jordan 40. That nearly could have gone bad to worse if they made a contact. Jeez. Luckily, no casualties. Nobody was harmed. We are A-okay. But I know that he's certainly not going to be a happy bunny there, as Christo is going to be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 15th retirement. Yep, that you heard me there, folks. Actually, no, 14th retirement. My mistake. So that is going to be down to 15 GT3 finishers now. Ish is going to be 2 seconds away from Marco. You can even see that is going to be Goya making their way around. Leader of the LMP2s. We've certainly got a chance ahead of them here. Starkey making very rapid work as Fedorov has dropped a lot of time in front of them here. See, Fedorov is losing several seconds, 5.8 seconds. Although he is quickly trying to gain that back. Something has gone wrong here. And looks like this is going to be Starkey trying to take advantage into 4th position, potentially 3rd. As he's rocketing his way around the side of the Aston. How easily is Fedorov going to take it? The two of them are going to drag race all the way down this 3rd sector and into that inside line. It's looking like a done deal for the Porsche, as it's actually going to be Fedorov who yields off. So Fedorov really looking like he's had a difficult time, but quickly sniffing the rear bumper of the Porsche, as he's not going to be going down without a fight. He seems to be on the pickup of the corners that he struggles the most, and sort of getting up to speed with some of these exits. I think that's where he's having the most difficult time. And arcing his way around these final sort of more flowing corners of the 3rd sector. It's clear that he is losing a ton of time. From 7 seconds down now. Something has gone awry. for the Valkyrie. And you can see it darting out of the way as that's Marco running in that racing line. See Goya heading in for the 3rd time now, and Pachichi coming out of the pits. Decent gravel getting kicked up there. As Starkey is holding firm to the 3rd position spot. Really giving it his all. I am mightily impressed with the field as it stands. They have got a brilliant showing. Certainly been a heck of a race to watch. Fedorov is now dropping that time. And so things are going to start to equalise out. Chris, now coming out of the pits, is going to be in 4th position, ahead of Rios and ahead of the others as well. So soon we'll be seeing, of course, De Vries now in 2nd, Ramsey up by over 25 seconds, nearly 30 seconds. So it's safe to say that he's really got a dominant hold. Just trying to ascertain the source of the yellow flag once more. Sunyev coming out of the pits. So Paul Wallace is the one who has stopped. And Paul Wallace is the one who is in serious trouble. We do have a... It almost looked like Danny Moffat did, but no, that was just a hiccup of the timing data. But now Wallace is done. Something has gone wrong with that BMW. I think he's run out of fuel. It looked like he was on his way to the pits anyway. I wonder if he's run out of fuel or virtual energy, as it were. Let's actually check that. Let's see what energy he's got on the docket as we go to the Hyper run in order. No, Wallace has got plenty of energy. So, what's happened? What's going on with Wallace? I have to wait and find out. I have to just wait and see. Even so, an unfortunate end to what was otherwise a good campaign for this race. But the sun is up. The sun is up. And we are deep into the final hour of racing now. 50 minutes to go. Field is going to be certainly looking like a tight spread, as the race will start to converge in its final phase. Certainly wanting to see how these races do. Now that the track is in the sun again, temperatures on the track are going to start to rise. Fordham is into the pits. We'll see when he comes out. But with those rising temperatures comes rising risk. You can see the times are dropping. The deltas are coming down quite significantly. The field is going to start considering their next options. We've already had a few drivers heading into the pits for the second, sometimes third time. So question mark becomes what's going to happen. Wallace is still stopped on track, and we don't see any signs of future movement. So I think it might be assured that he is done here. It might be a similar case to what we saw with Burek, where he's crashed. Game isn't considering it as done. Even so, eyes front, as things continue to look fun and sharp for a certain Schlichting, although his gap is not as big as it previously was. 3 seconds down on his best. That wasn't his best lap. Say 30.050. That is going to be netting time to Patush, who has been running sub 330 and continues to impress with his consistency. Hard-fought race thus far. It's going to mean tensions are high heading into this final half an hour. I'm a little bit nervous, I can't lie. Little bit nervous into what this final phase of the race is going to hold. We do see Patush getting held up by another Ferrari, but in GT3 trim. That Delta really goes to show just how much, because, I mean, look at that. There is such a large gap. Almost an entire second alone just through that small section. There's a lot of time that can be gained and lost. But there you go, there is Paul into the pits now. So that is effectively going to mean we are down to 27 competitors now. So we did say goodbye to Christo earlier. And now saying goodbye to Paul. 9 remaining Hypercars, 3 remaining LMP2s, and 15 remaining GT3s. And so I hope you've been enjoying the broadcast as it has been currently rolling through. We have had a bit of a lull in activity, but that isn't going to stop the drivers from continuing to impress and push their personal boundaries as they roll their way through. For example, Pichichi is going to still be pushing forward as best as one can. Looks like there is a major issue though, as there's been a coming together. It looked like a coming together between Rios and De Vries. Oh no! De Vries has had a major incident, and I don't think Rios had anything to do with it because he's missing his front left entirely. Is that the entire wheel gone? I'm just waiting for the camera to pan around here and actually give us a view on it. Oh my lord, that is the entire wheel gone. What do you even say to that, folks? He's effectively running a GT3 reliant Robin right now. And he's about as fast as one would be. Real rough for De Vries, as he was otherwise looking so strong. Second place, need I remind. They are just cresting across the curbs, leaving a healthy trail of sparks the entire way down. as he's going to be, surprisingly, still able to bring his car into the pits with some level of control. I had to say something, didn't I? I had to say something. But he still makes it to the pits. He still made it to the pits, and that is saying something, considering how little of his car remains. That is going to lend a chance for some other drivers to take a bite out of the podium cherry, as Crépy Rouge is going to be in a second place spot right now. Chris is going to potentially put an upset to that, but don't see that changing the major order of things, as Rouge is going to be 50 seconds away from Ramsey. It's 1.6 between himself and Ish. Still trying to source if there's any other yellows or issues on the track. Looks like the yellow flag has subsided now that we do have, of course, that three-wheeler of De Vries in the pits here. I wonder if we actually do get to see the tyre reappear, although we might be waiting a while for it. We are going to have Fedorov heading into the pits now as well. Final rollers. So now it's going to be a bit of a run and a bit of a race, and I'll be curious as to how the hypercars handle these last phases, as we'll be soon running out of virtual energy, we'll soon be running out of tyre life, depending on the compounds chosen. We are still seeing a bit of variety in the compounds chosen, as we saw with one of the hypercars earlier. There's a mix of soft and medium. We do have another local yellow though. That always sort of gives me pause and gives me dread. As looks like Goya is the one having an issue, completely misjudging the pit entry, and even with a 45-second gap now to Scoob, that is a lot of time lost. Fedorov now coming out of the pits, as De Vries is going to continue to drop. See, the sun is shining. We are in the early hours of the morning here at Le Mans. Soon to get into midday. The field and the track be rapidly evolving. Track temps, of course, are accelerated in the same way as the time. I'll say as well, some of the noises, beautiful noises. Alright, time to see and take stock of the whole field. We have 40 minutes remaining. We have a yellow flag once again making an appearance. That is a good question as to where it is coming from. It's not from... oh no, the flag has gone. So, let's first take stock of the top end of the order. The hypercars. Schlichting continues to hold the lead. Now 20 seconds clear of Mika Patush in second place. And nearly a whole minute away, a whole minute later, it is going to be Craig Starkey. And Starkey has been putting an impressive race, particularly that strategic upset we saw earlier on. It has been a mighty tool in their efforts. Paul Moffat, now coming into the pits, is currently in 4th place, although we will see that drop to the likes of Max Tarasenko in 5th, Sebastian Borgerson in 7th place, Max Sunyev in 8th, and Fedorov not too far behind in 9th, just kicking up some gravel, as I think these two are starting a bit of a squabble. Finally, we have 9th is going to go to Garnham, as what was 10th is Paul Wallace, although he has had a technical issue and has effectively retired from the race. Meanwhile, looking to your LMP2s, it's all quiet on that front as Timothy Goyer, despite mistakes, is continuing their dominant charge throughout the class. 48 seconds and counting to the likes of Flo Scoob in 2nd place. Richard Cook is going to be a whole 2 minutes away, but still going strong in their own pocket of the racetrack in 3rd. And then we did say goodbye to Burek with the game crash, and Shekadjev in the other car that was making it to the track, unfortunately DNFing out. Finally, your GT3s, and leading the charge even more dominantly so than anyone else, even more dominant than Goya, it is Alistair Ramsey. Untouchable in that Mustang so far, and looking like the car to beat season-wide in a lot of areas, but particularly here in our birthday bash. Rampa Rouge is going to be in 2nd place with Chris Ish not too far behind, 1.2 seconds, and dropping down as they may be starting to squabble for the 2nd spot. Adam Rios is going to be alongside Jordan Forty in 4th and 5th place, with Sebastian Fischer in 6th. Having a bit of a fight with some of those drivers earlier. It will be their time to have some alone space on the track. Mike Cooper, Gary Barham, Ayapazan, Dan Pacici complete your top 10 for the GT3s, and then it's Matthias Wiedemann, Hendrik de Vries having recovered, and now with 4 tyres, now with 4 wheels intact. Pleased to say that they are back on the track once more. In 12th with Fordham, Martin and Swart completing the GT3s. But it's final stretches. Now here, folks, final stretches indeed. And curiously, one thing that has not changed is the fastest lap holder. Sunyev still holds the fastest lap, despite Schlichting's best efforts. Despite everything that he has tried to do, he still cannot touch that fastest lap. And he will not be getting much of a chance here left either, as the field is going to be still largely spread, but time rapidly ticking down. You can see slightly down on his deltas, but there is going to be more work to do if he wants to get that fastest lap off the hands of Sunyev at his start. A very dominant start he had. It's always interesting seeing the start versus finishing positions. You really get a perspective of who is one of the biggest gains and who has had a bit of a rough race to remember, but still finished, which is extremely commendable in its own right. 35 minutes on the docket. See Schlichting getting boxed. That's Swart just ahead of him there. Resulting in him losing about 3/4 of a second in time. It is a shame as well that we did see as many no-shows as we did. 8 no-shows at the start. Now, I know that at least a couple of them were due to underlying technical issues. In fact, we did have someone we did have sort of chats earlier to suggest that the game was crashing or there was some kind of technical issue. That we're never going to put past as something that can happen, and fully understandable. It can very much happen. And I have full sympathy for everyone who is hit by that, because you just want to go racing. More than anything, people just want to go racing. And sadly, it's an unfortunate case where you just factors in your way. Out of your control, still there. In at things here, though, we have got Crapeau Rouge still holding firm in second place. And not much of a time gain or loss coming in from Chris. He's straddling the line between time gains and time losses. Although that looked like a particularly good section, as he gained 0.2 of a second. Just needs to get within a second of Crapeau Rouge and he will be in a much better fighting position. That's the thing that he's got to have to juggle. He's not going to be given an easy chance, given an easy time at all. You're not going to be handed these things on a silver. We've got to make the most of it. Got to really push hard now. Starkey is going to be heading into the pits, and that is going to introduce a bit of a unique strategic direction. Tarasenko, over a minute away, does have a chance at stealing away a podium position. Let's see if he's going to be able to commit to that. He goes through this final sector. It's all about timings here, although Starkey already out of the pits. A very quick run in here. And just like that, back on. Mixed a couple of the GT3 cars, and we even see Jordan 40 also could be getting involved in a bit of his own scrap. As you can see, Starkey behind, now chasing for his own track space. So 40 now. Going to get overtaken by the Porsche, briefly tucks in behind it to get a tiniest amount of slipstream. Rios is the one that remains in his sights. He is gaining slightly. Slightly gaining a bit of an advantage here. Don't know if he's going to be able to get that push though. One that he wanted. I don't think it's quite going to be there. He's going to struggle, I think. It looks like 40 could have a chance to really reel in the Porsche right now. He's got himself down to within half a second. So colour me impressed. It's not easy with these kind of races. It never is. You've got so much that you have to juggle and so much pressure that you are faced with. And so I have full respect for every driver who's able to keep that composure in the face of such a long stint and such a long, grueling race against this kind of competition. Also get a bit more insights over to you as things happen. And we do have a confirmation that Wallace was artificially... Well, the game kicked him out, effectively. I'm not going to repeat the exact language that was used, as it was a slight bit colourful. But it is justified in this context, as was unfairly kicked out of the game after what looked like a really good run. So, fully feel for you, Paul, mate. Really do feel for you. If you're watching this now, you have my full support, my full sympathies. Let's see how these races do, though. Final half an hour. Pressure high. Chances in the window. But just as quickly could be taken away if there's not careful. You can see Chris trying to gain a little bit of time on the back of Crapa Rouge, and he does gain a few crucial tenths of a second, but is it going to be enough as we head now into the final 5 to 7 laps. We'll check in on the Hypercars as well, see how they're doing. Sunyev being the closest driver to another car. And he's going to be on lap 32 out of what may be lap 40. Schleeting, meanwhile, 40.8. Remember, these are relative estimates. He's actually going to be drafting off the back of Fedorov, fellow Valkyrie driver. And crazy to me that we have Hypercars lapping Hypercars. Usually we see multiple class overtakes, but to this extent of dominance is seriously impressive. So there is Fedorov going and making his way past and through. Where Schleeting making his way past and through Fedorov. We go to start lap 34 for the lead car. Question for the folks watching at home: who has been the driver that you've been most impressed by? Because we've had a lot of standout performances. We've had good and bad. We've had DNFs. We've had everywhere from sort of high jumps to low starts. It's all been there. So if you have any driver that you've been particularly impressed by over the course of tonight's racing, make it known. I've certainly been impressed by the resilience of Patush throughout multiple laps, and despite multiple pressures, they've continued to be a stalwart force and have really pushed the envelope when it comes to just lap after lap, lap in and out being really just rapid. They have lost a lot of time to Schleeting over the course of the race, that cannot be disputed. But they have really tried and given it their all. That can never be knocked. You can even see right here he's going to be using Paul Garnham as a bit of a garnish on his race efforts, using him as a slipstream. It was slowed up slightly by it, but he's still going to make the most out of the situation. But it has been great quality racing throughout, and everyone has been playing their part in bringing this experience here. Of course, be sure to stick around to the end, because we will be doing a redraw for the second GRDC t-shirt, as well as the VIP draw for a custom t-shirt and 2 custom mugs, courtesy of our brand new, well, not sure if it's released yet, but a brand new merch line. I'll be sure to be there for that. And of course, to all the drivers who are watching this back, then that's how you're going to know if you're a winner or not. So, like with the World Sprint Championship Season 2 round, make sure you contact Craig Starkey, owner of GRDC, to claim your prizes. As our remaining 27 cars roll through. Tarasenko's the winner of Shirt 1. And we'll see, after this race, who is going to lay claim to Shirt 2. We'll say De Vries back on fighting form as he's on the track once more. And he is going to really be pushing as hard as he can now. He hasn't got much time. He needs to make this work, and he needs to get the most out of this car before time runs out. 7 seconds could be possible with his pace. In fact, that is time that he's already more than making up, as Afzan, I think, is having an issue with his car. Yeah, he's losing serious time here. He's practically limping it, and you in fact see already De Vries is in the background hunting him down. Rios heading into the pits alongside Schlichting and Paul Garnham. So they are going to be quickly jumping in. You can see Schlichting making very fast pit stop, it looks like. Almost looking like a splash and dash. Dosing up on the energy before going for a final push to the end of the race. Yeah, it's that final shot in the arm, as it were. Just doing what you have to do to get across that finish line, like any of us can. You can see Chris is going to be losing time to Marco, unfortunately. Despite that battle looking like it was shaping up relatively nice. Not to be. As we do see the pit stops for the likes of Rios changing up the order a little bit further behind. 40 is going to be 4.4 seconds away. And with that, most of the field has spread themselves out rather thin. I mean, for reference, folks, the smallest gap you have on the hypercars is 15 seconds, and that's between Moffat and Fedorov, two of the Valkyries, making their way around the track. What a sound. Addictive sound these cars make. But yeah, that is the smallest gap in the hypercars. Smallest gap for the GT3s, meanwhile, 1.7. And then 55 seconds between Flo, Scoob, and Timothy Goya. So quite the gap. Quite the insurmountable gap, one might argue, in the case of the LMP2s, which looks like a fairly done deal unless Goya makes a catastrophic error. And even with the error they made earlier at the pit entry, they didn't lose much time. They've gained it back, in fact. Still going to be a bit of a tough final stint, though, as 2 hours deep, a lot of the drivers are going to be starting to feel the effects and start to feel a little bit weary, maybe. You cannot drive on top form forever. That would betray any kind of human biology. So eventually you're going to have your limit, your attention span's going to go, the energy's going to drop. And you are going to have to start making some compromises, as you will inevitably make mistakes. That's going to be Patush getting by on Ivan Fedorov. Patush, of course, taking the lead of the race now that Schlichting has made a pit stop. And doing what he needs to do. We'll see 40 meanwhile. 2.5 hours deep into the stream is going to be making his final pit stop. Sebastian Fischer going to come in and do much of the same. Solid competitors in GT3. We'll see who else is going to spring to the same conclusions, as we tend to see the GT3s in particular go into the pit lane in droves. So they will roughly sync up, and Gary Barham no exception. Rios, you went a little bit earlier, so he's not going to be running that same cadence. He did go earlier than the others. But final times, things are looking sharp. Now, fastest lap still belongs to Sunyev, but there still is going to be a chance for many drivers to push that envelope. I think Schlichting's got it in him to go for a final fastest lap push. I think he has got it in him, and especially now he's taken that splash and dash. He's going to have the virtual energy to do it. It's all a matter of perspective, though. Does he want that fastest lap more? Or is he going to just play it consistent and bring it home? Atush will inevitably head into the pits soon. We've seen these two split their pit stops roughly a couple of laps between each other, but otherwise, same pattern. I wonder if Patush is going to try and stretch, though. You can hear the raucous sound. That's Fedorov in another Valkyrie. And Danny Moffat not too far away either. I just love the sound of this car in particular. And the Mustang as well, with that deep throaty V8. Max Tarasenko is going to be heading into the pits in the Ferrari, as others are going to keep themselves going right to the very end. I think Starkey is going to be running to the finish now, taking all the pit stops he has required. You see him come up to the back of one of the GT3s. That is Fischer right there. Going to be parked right on the apex. Don't forget as well, folks, it is the responsibility of the faster class to get round, and the GT3s can stay on the racing line. In fact, if you go off the racing line to try and give position to a faster class, that causes more accidents than anything. Because the hypercars are expecting you to stay online and stay predictable. If you suddenly dart to one side when they try to move, that's how accidents happen. See, slicing his way through Sector 3. Atush is going to be coming out of the pit lane. And Schlichting is going to re-inherit the lead of the race, although Patush has closed a bit of that time. What was a 20-second gap is looking a little bit slimmer, about 13. We see Mike Cooper, another car heading into the pit lane now. I would be surprised if we see any pit stops beyond the 10-minute mark, folks. I'm going to be blunt in that. I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's viable to pit in after that point. At that stage, you are losing far more time than you're gaining. In fact, with 15 minutes to go Really, this is the kind of threshold where you'd want to avoid pitting in. If you could stretch your car to the end, you'd do it. Because you're talking about over a minute of time loss. Relative to a few seconds here and there per lap gained. It's not worth the trade-off at this stage of the race. That's the mindful trade-off you've got to make. Oh, you can see a little bit of wobbliness. That was Richard Cook, and that nearly could have ended in disaster as Fedorov was going through. Looks like Richard Cook has damaged his car severely. He's crabbing across the track and rolling across the grass. Oh no, things have gone terribly wrong. You can see he's skating sideways. Yeah, he's seriously damaged. Cook is limping that car home as best as one can. Oh no, he's going to come across onto the racing surface. Oh, I feel so nervous watching, as you can see just how hard he's trying to fight to keep that car under control. Smashing sponsor boards on his way. And even behind him, that is going to be Swat just watching nervously as that LMP2 is squiggling its way in. You can see eventually now regaining control and getting himself back in to repair. It is crazy to think that it has been a year, and it is a year to the day. 1st of August 2024 is when GRDC first officially opens its doors. And there has been a lot that's happened here. We of course had our start where we were on ACC and AMS2. Who remembers the AMS2 championship and the interesting experience that was? Now, I'll be transparent. I was not a fan of the broadcast experience of AMS2. There was a lot of we'll call improvised solutions, and even then it was far from perfect. So I'm sure it's come a long way since that day, but AMS2, there was a lot of potential, but unfortunately there was missed potential. But LMU, I think LMU is where GRDC has really found its calling. The amount of success that we've had in that alone has been phenomenal. It's been an amazing experience to broadcast as well as to just see how GRDC has taken shape since switching to LMU, and even from our hybrid days with the Luke Addison Racing series, with the ACC eventually coming to a close and us becoming LMU in full. It's been amazing to watch how GRDC has grown and changed as an org over time, as a club. And we owe that to every single one of you. Everyone watching, everyone racing, everyone contributing on our Patreon, everyone getting involved with the broadcasts and all the trustees behind the scenes. Because without every single piece of that puzzle, we wouldn't have a GRDC. It's as simple as that. We would not have the GRDC we know and love without everyone playing their part. So, as we get into those final 10 minutes, this is where we say thank you to everyone. because the magic only exists as long as there's people to experience and to bring it. But it has been something special being here and being a part of GRDC. From my perspective, it's been absolutely a privilege to be here in the commentary box, week in, week out, and to see how this place has grown and changed, how it's grown up with the times and how it's risen to challenges that it's faced along the way. Such a interesting journey, and we're not even done. We're not even close to done. A Frank-related incident, you say? Oh dear. Well, let's get that car back on its feet, eh, Cook? Good to see you back on track and in fighting form once again. This has been truly something special. And this is only year one. Oh, Fedorov, what's going on, mate? Completely cutting the chicane there. Limping that car through. Doesn't seem like all is well with that Valkyrie right now, as he's been overtaken by Sunyev. But I cannot wait to see where GRDC goes in year 2 and beyond, as there is plenty more to come. I know that much. Much more on the table. Only just getting started. But enough getting the goo-goo eyes. We'll save that post-race. We have got 7 minutes to go, folks. That is roughly 2 more laps. And we can see there 2.5 laps remaining. Philip Schlichting, current race leader. Matusz has stayed within that 13-second realm. It's actually not lost much of any time. Very impressive. Again, super impressive consistency. And each winner of the class is going to be taken away a GRDC mug. There's Tarasenko getting a shirt, and a second shirt winner being yet undetermined. We'll be doing that Wheel of Names spin. And we will be seeing who has laid claim. While we do that as well, we will just check in on who has left the race session, and we will be scrubbing those entries, those names from the list, because as a reminder of the rules, folks, in order to be eligible for that shirt giveaway, you must finish the race. So you will unfortunately be removed from the list if you do not finish. Oh, that scared me. that actually did scare me, that sudden audio change. Crikey, 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 crikey. Yeah, we have unfortunately seen a lot of drivers who have bowed out of the race today. Some through incidents and some through utterly no fault of their own. It's always a shame in the latter case, because you never can predict. You never can predict how the race is going to go. But a yellow flag has been called. The exact source is yet undetermined. Oh, looks like Flo Scoob off the track out of the Mulsanne Straight. That was the source of the yellow flag, and that is why they are now over 60 seconds away from Timothy Goyer, who looks like the undisputed favourite to win this one. So, time to see who is within the chance, within a shot. Taking those last minute opportunities. Oh, we are going to see one of the Ferraris running very slow out of that corner. I think that was Tarasenko. Yes, it was. But yeah, losing multiple seconds there. Not looking too hot for him right now. Bit of a worrying showing there. Ivan Fedorov has DNF'd out of the race in the final moments. I can't believe this. In the final stages, he's not going to make it home. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, he's just not going to make it back. But with that, it is going to mean that soon the final lap of the race is officially starting. And you can see Philip Schlichting is going to start the final lap as we are 2 minutes on the clock. You see that white flag being flown. You know what this means, folks. It's time to see who has what it takes to bring this one home. So shame again that we didn't see as many finishes as we'd like, as there were a lot of racers who didn't quite either make it to the start or make it to the end. But I think out of that, we do have finally a conclusion to what has been a beautiful race and a great event to be a part of. We'll stay tuned as we will have that final roll with all race finishers for the second shirt and then the VIP giveaway as well. So watch this space, folks, as things aren't done. Yet we are far from done. Even if the race will be coming to an end, our show is certainly not. Those here are Schlichting coming off the Mulsanne straight. You can see, I think that is going to be Danny Moffat just behind him. Great showing from everyone out there today. You can hear them all rocketing through. Don't forget as well that VIP side of the giveaway too. That's going to be a much slimmer pickings, of course. If you do want to support what we do here at GRDC and as we continue to grow, consider supporting us on the likes of Patreon or wherever else. But after a long and hard-fought race, victory goes to those who were the strongest for the longest. And Philip Schleeting certainly fits that moniker. Final chicane now. What a result. The Valkyrie pilot brings it home. First place winner of the Hypercar class for the GRDC Birthday Bash. And close behind, you can see the rest of the field start to fall in tow. Timothy Goya is going to be making his way through the end of the Mulsanne straight, as further away Alistair Ramsey is just halfway down the second chicane, the prospective leaders of those classes as well. But a really brilliant race. Many drivers can walk away from today feeling proud of the race that they brought to us today. You can see also the pit stoppers have been correctly counted as DNFs, as well as Paul Wallace and Zvonimir Burek now being correctly ID'd as wait a... what? Burek is on the track. Okay. I think we're having what we can only describe as an LMU moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are certainly having an LMU moment. So watch this space, of course, as I don't really know what's what's gone on there, but what we do know is that we have the champ for Hypercar coming through, but we also have the LMP2s and most dominant racer in his class by far, over a minute gap between himself and Flo Scoob in second place. Timothy Goya, take a bow. Absolute domination in LMP2 and a solid win here, taking the checkered flag for his class. Second in the 3 sets, now making their way through though. Alistair Ramsey, another dominant performer, virtually untouched by the most densely populated class of the track. 15 finishers out of 27 starters, or 27 registrations, I should say more accurately. But he still, amidst the chaos, found peace and found the win of the night. Alistair Ramsey is going to be your winner of the LMGT3 class, and with that, an amazing showing from the entire field and a brilliant race for all. More cars are making their way through just to finish things up, but your final standings, it's Schleeting, Patush and Starkey taking top honours and the podium for the Hypercars, alongside Sunyev, who we're on board with right now. Tarasenko as well, just making his way around. I believe that is De Vries in the Aston. We have Moffat, Borgerson and Garnham completing your finishers for the Hypercars, and then Timothy Goya along with Floschkub in first and second for LMP2. Richard Cook is going to complete your finishers for LMP2, and then it's all GT3s from that point on, with Alistair Ramsey, Marco Craparouge, Chris Ish, Jordan Forty, Adam Rios in your top 5. Sebastian Fischer, Gary Barham, Dan Pichichi, and Mike Cooper, along with Matthias Wiedemann, is in the top 10. And then Hendrik de Vries, Ayab Zan, Matt Fordham, Lorna Martin, and Gert Swart complete the order and complete your finishing racing results. Unfortunately, we did see and say goodbye to a lot of racers over the course of this event. I'm not going to go through all of the names exhaustively, but you can just see how many we didn't get to see fully live up to their potential on the track tonight. And then beyond Robin Cruz, we did have the 8 no-shows at the start of the race. who were initially indicated as pits, but correctly got moved to DNF. So we didn't get to see Gasson, Benton, Kerner, Seaward, Vasuri, Nagitsev, Willems, and I believe in last that is Ersoy, yes. But no, great showing by everyone, and what an event this has been. But the event is not over, folks, because out of that and out of your finishers, we have a much smaller list coming in from your wheel of names. Now, this is minus, of course, our previous winner. So, congratulations, Max Tarasenko. You are going to be keeping the... there you go. That didn't quite clip properly. Apologies. But Tarasenko, congratulations on being the first shirt winner. But we do have to re-roll. And we do have a much smaller list when we discount for no-shows and non-finishers. So out of those who have finished the race, this is your final set of names. 19 entries. And a wheel now spinning. Who's it going to be? The second shirt winner for the standard giveaway is going to be Mika. So, Mika, if you're watching this back, make sure to message Craig and get that second shirt organised and claimed for you. But that is not all, folks, as we do have the giveaway now for the VIPs. Now, as a special reward for the VIPs and for those who support us here at GRDC, we have a separate giveaway for a custom embroidered shirt, including your race number embroidered on the sleeve, as well as custom mugs with the GRDC logo and the race number. So we're going to go 6 entrants, 3 spins. Of course, we've had the standard giveaway where every race division winner is going to get a mug. So congratulations to Schlichting, Goya, and Ramsey. You're going to be getting a mug, so make sure to contact Craig about that, as well as Tarasenko and Patush. But now it's time for the final 6 spin for the VIP. So first we're going to spin for the mugs. And for the first 15-ounce mug, custom with the driver race number as well, the first one is going to go to Borgerson. So congratulations, mate. You're going to be the first claimant of the mug. Make sure to contact Craig. Then your second winner is going to be none other than Jordan 40. So congratulations to you both. And with that, the final roll now begins. It's between Garnham, Ramsey, De Vries, and Fordham. This is for a custom shirt, custom embroidered. And the winner of that is going to be... close to the line. It's nudging. It's Alistair Ramsey. Wait. Yeah, so Ramsey not only is, I believe, going to be getting a mug here, but is going to be getting a custom embroidered shirt as well. So congratulations to everyone, and that is where we're going to do it for tonight, folks. I said a little bit towards the end of the race that it has been an absolute privilege, and I stand by that 100%, 110% even. It has been an amazing experience being here since the opening of GRDC to what it is now, to what it could be in the future. I hope you'll stick around for year 2 and beyond, as it has been nothing short of, well, it's been a massive experience. It's been a very changing experience for me on a personal level, and I'm sure for you watching at home or those on the track, it's been really good as well, just watching GRDC evolve. But thank you to everyone who's participated. Thank you to everyone who's joining in from the race or from the chat. And if you have enjoyed what we have to offer here and you haven't done so already, be sure to 1, like the stream, 2, subscribe if you haven't already, because this isn't the only kind of event that we do. We've got the LMGT3 challenge, we've got the World Sprint Championship, we've got even more on the way. But for now, I'm going to retreat to the evening. Thank you so much again, folks. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you contact Craig if you want those prizes. And with that, we'll see you very soon. Ta-ra for now, folks. Good night. We'll see you Monday for LMGT3 and Wednesday for WSC. But goodbye for now.